They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say for those who have been isolated. Don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeve. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, goddammit. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids, pictures held up by thin ties. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play are old Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop it.
Lady P, we are just coming on. What's up, Tiff?
Hey, nothing but snow.
What's going on, everyone? Tiff, why don't you give everybody your little, hey, everyone, it's Tiff, because we got an anxious guest backstage here that's ready to blast some truth to America. So,
Hey, everybody. So we got a good guy coming on tonight. He's smart as hell. He's been on my show before, and I just listened to him. And if you got any questions, he will answer them. So go ahead, Darren.
over. How smart is hell?
What you just talk to him, you'll see for yourself. He is smart.
I've always wondered that. People are like, man, he's smart as hell. What the hell does that mean? Smart as hell. Well, all right, let's figure it out. Obsidian, come on down. All right.
Well, I got something to say. To every one of you CPS workers that's taking away children without due process of law, enough is enough of you. You've hurt people's lives. You've ruined enough lives for money. You're selling children, and I can prove it. Not only can I prove it, there's Supreme Court case law that goes back to the inception of this country that says you cannot be doing what you're doing. In fact, the only time you have any authority to take a child away from a parent is when you find illicit substances in the home, and that has to be somebody else has to report that. You don't get to just walk up in people's homes without due process, without a warrant, in violation of Fourth Amendment. You don't get to do that. You don't get to take away people's children on false allegations. False allegations are not admissible in any record, in any court, in any competent country in the world. It's all hearsay most of the time. They've been caught falsifying records in order to remove children. And by this, I mean they falsify drug screens. They'll do anything they possibly can to get their little money-grubbing hands on that adoption incentive money and the foster care money. And that's all under Title 42. The same codes the child support's under. But this is about CPS. And I got something to say. Troxel versus Granville is a Supreme Court case that established the bedrock of the fundamental right of parents. In Washington versus Glucksberg, it was a Supreme Court case about physician-assisted suicide, in which the Supreme Court ruled that they do not have a right to physician-assisted suicide because it's not fundamentally ingrained in American tradition. But you know what is fundamentally ingrained in American tradition, he says, is the fundamental right of parents to direct the care, custody, and upbringing of other human offspring. Now, I also got something to say because Stanley versus Illinois goes into detail about how just because the state, okay, so you got Reno versus Florida, Stanley versus Illinois, all these cases that blatantly tell the tale, and I've got case after case after case. I must have like 15 cases where the Supreme Court has continually ruled against them, and it goes even as far as to say if your rights have been revoked, if you've had your rights revoked by supposed court order, no, you have not. They're inalienable. They can't be taken away. In fact, the best interest of the child standard is not the standard by which parents direct the care and custody of their human offspring. And that would be Reno versus Flores. I got so many United States code. I know the procedure. I know how to file lawsuits. I know all of these things that could help so many people, but I can't do anything because the Money Grubbing Bar Association has their ever-loving grip on the practice of law. But I'm here to tell them today, I'm here to educate. I'm not here to represent anyone. But I tell you what, I'll advocate for every one of you parents because I've seen so many and I've heard so many stories, so many tales of what has happened to people. And you can see the pain when they're there. When I'm in conversation with them, you can, and it's on video. You can see the pain in their face. You can hear it in their voice. They tell you about the deprivation of their due process, the deprivation of constitutional rights. Let me tell you something, CPS. You violate the First Amendment right to familial association and to not associate, both intimately and expressively, with the agency, and to associate intimately or expressively with your human offspring, which they do not have a power to convert or take away from you. Miranda versus Arizona. And you got Miller versus United States. This was a Supreme Court case after United States versus Miller, which was a case in which the Supreme Court tried to say that the Second Amendment right to bear arms was relegated to the militia. And then that case was turned around and overturned with another Supreme Court case that said it shall not be infringed. There's so many times where they come in under the guise of safety, under the guise of protection, to divest one of your rights that are inalienable and given to you by God that they have no business touching. They have no business damaging children. They have no business doing it, and it damages them for not just for one generation, but it reoccurs in the next 2 generations if things don't change. We're at a boiling point now where there is so much of this contract funding going around. And you can guarantee if it's a government contract, Maximus Incorporated has their hands in it. And you can guarantee they will be held accountable. They are a private person and they can be sued. They are subject to legal process, just like the CPS people, who are probably a contractor working for them, unbeknownst to most. But the thing of it is when you go down and you sign these documents and you sign these parent plans to try to get them out of your life, all you're doing is setting yourself up. Trust me, I've done it. I've been it. But I'm here to tell you, if you know your Supreme Court case law and you know how to file documents, you can get your children back in your life real easy. But these are unscrupulous people. You have to force them to let your children go. They're not just going to let them go because of the incentive money. I know I gave it to the Punisher the other day on the Title 42 incentive payments to states for the adoption service. So we know they get bribery for doing all this stuff. And it's all color of law because it was never enacted into positive law. It's under Title 42. Congress never enacted that. So it's only applicable through contract only. Contract requires agreement. Agreement being they need your consent. And there's 2 types of consent. There's implied consent, and then there is express consent. Express consent is where you have a written contract. Implied consent is implied through behavior. So if you don't dispute, they're going to assume. But I'm here to tell you, CPS, you don't get to do these things because it's a violation of the First Amendment. It's a violation of the Fourth Amendment because CPS cannot issue a warrant. A judge can't issue a warrant on behalf of CPS without a sworn to affidavit under penalty of perjury. And I'm pretty sure your family member that called on you, or whoever called on you, because it had to be somebody that called on you. It don't just happen like that unless you got some sort of case going. But so it's going to be somebody close to you in your family that's colluding with the agency that may or may not have done this to you. And you have to remember, they don't know any of this information. So if you know this information, you will be mad at them, but it don't interact. Because when you get violent with them, or you get violent with the police or whatever, and it's involved, they frown upon it, and they can legally use that to try to make you out to be some sort of something. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't have clear elements of physical or ulterior abuse that I'm going to leave the word out for, just out of respect for your viewers. But basically, if you're not doing any of those things, you're not abusing directly. So even neglect, right? You got the inalienable right. So it don't matter if a judge signed off on that or not, because of the fact that if he did, it's against the Constitution. And look, it goes down to the Fifth Amendment due process rights. Okay, it goes to trial by jury. Sometimes if they try to charge you with some sort of criminal offense, they like to use psychiatrists to come in, talk to the children. You got gender affirming care legislature. You got all of these things that don't belong with children. You got the education department teaching, what was it, 9-10-year-olds basically putting explicit material in the school library. And you got a preacher speaking out about this, and they're throwing him out of the meeting. This is disgusting, and it's got to stop. If somebody don't do something about this, I'm going to start rounding up all of their names. I'm going to start rounding up all of their addresses. I'm going to start serving them all with due process, and all of them are going to get drug in, whether that be a court of our peers or a court from the government. I don't care. They're committing crimes now. And it even goes even further, because that is something that is denied to the state. The state cannot intervene in family life. That's private, unless there's a compelling state interest. The word compelling in that sentence means there has to be something that compels the conscience, meaning there has to be something heinous going on. And that's and there's plenty of ways to get at them. You can sue them. They can be sued. They're under Title 42, and those who operate contractually under Title 42 are considered private persons, and therefore do not have any legal immunity and are subject to legal process. Don't trust a lawyer. I say that. That's not legal advice. I say that because that's a fact. Because you can look in 7 Corpus Juris Secundum, Section 3 and 4. That's attorney and client. And it makes, when you get an attorney, it makes you a ward of the court. You cannot speak. It's a star chamber. You got to shut your mouth and your attorney speaks for you. I don't have an attorney. You can't hold me in contempt at my own proceeding if I do not have an attorney. There's lots of things. There's lots of ways to get at them, and there's lots of information. So you guys just let me know over here in Maine and wherever you are. If you need anything, I got you. Because I put something together. And it's coming.
Don't you also have your own YouTube channel?
Yes, it's great. It's phenomenal. But I like collabing with people too, because it gets the information out more. Because I don't really have views that much, right? But I want to get that information out there, and I'm really advocating for everyone here, because these people have got their hands in Medicaid, food stamps, everything you can think of. It's
What's
all
your channel, Ken?
and all obligates you in some fashion. And another thing is,
Hold on, wait a minute. Get with
What's your
Darren.
channel?
Get with Darren so that we can hook our channels all together, because we're making a big network. So when one goes on, we all go on.
What's your channel, man?
I might be down for that. Yeah.
What's your channel? He wants your channel name.
It's Mr. Obsidian 8009. That would definitely be interesting. But yeah,
And we're on the platforms too. But go ahead.
I got statutes. I got Supreme Court case law. I got man. I am swimming up to my neck in welfare combat materials, legally speaking. This is they're not going to get away from this, man. None of them.
What do you think the Trump administration is going to do? He already said that he's coming for Health and Human Services.
Oh yeah, Javier Becerra too. He's done. Him and his little buddy Mayorkas, they're getting impeached. Yeah, man. They've done this stuff for 50, 60 years. It needs to come to an end. Now, I've seen his executive orders too, where he's supported administrative law judges somehow. But administrative law judges are an open violation of the Constitution, because that violates the separation of powers doctrine. Because administrative is in the executive branch and a judge is judicial. It can't be both. See what I'm saying? So any case with a administrative law judge is void. Okay, and then a guardian ad litem, the court is taking guardianship over your child and giving it to someone while they figure out and investigate who is the weaker out of the two of you, so they can slam them with like some sort of allegations of child abuse, or God forbid they don't even have to do that, y'all arguing against each other. See what I'm saying? So it's a lot. Michigan's going through a heck of a time. We've got a terrible problem with our tribal folks around here. I don't know who could help on that. I don't know what to do, because it's all tribal law and it's different. But we have, I know Donald Trump tried to do something, because he passed some executive order to search for the missing and dead Native Americans around here. Somebody is killing our natives too, so that's the thing. But with that, I yield my time.
told y'all. I told you he could just ramble shit off top of his head. I told you.
Oh, 14th Amendment and 13th Amendment on child support.
Um,
But that's a
Vinny said
different
he wants
matter.
to
I'll
talk
deal
to
with that.
him.
Man, I'm checking out your channel right now, man. You got a ton of stuff on here, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I started
I even
stuff.
exposed like the deep state and all sorts of stuff, man.
And you got to get. I'm gonna put this up here so everybody can see this stuff. What you got on here?
I've got the Epstein list. I've got we have the stash that somebody left that pinged all of the people's cell phones that visited the island, and Donald Trump did not visit Epstein Island.
Thank God.
You know who did? Bill Clinton.
Yeah, we
course.
knew Bill Clinton did.
Hey, he's there
I
multiple
know that
times,
for a
right?
fact. I know that for a fact. He can't even lie on that one. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is like my personal content, even from back in the day when I had none of this legal battle going on, and I was just trying to survive living out of my car, and here we are. We
What?
got a place of our own. We're fighting, man. We're gonna be serving them with legal process. They're gonna end up paying us for our time and our damages, and that's gonna be put out to my human offspring because I'm not in it for the money, but if I'm gonna get some, I might as well take it.
So what brought you into this fight?
My son, and of course, child support services. But then I realized that the CPS and everybody else was also having somewhat of a similar struggle because in learning all the child support stuff, I started to see a semblance and a resemblance in the CPS stuff and then in the adoption stuff. And I was like, wait, they're all Ponzi schemes. Okay, so they're all Ponzi schemes. It's all bribery. An incentive is something given to change a behavior. A bribe is something given to a public official to sway their decision or change their behavior. It's the same thing. Yeah, but I know a ton of stuff. There's due process gets things thrown out, but Maximus is a problem. They've got their hands in everything, but
Yeah, do you want to
my
explain? That's
legal
what I was
system
going to ask
videos,
you.
I break
What
down
is?
some child support hearings as dead wrong. My
What is?
executive risk, I cover the election. And then I've got my congressional chess taking on the head of the HHS, Javier Becerra, who is now no longer that. So I took him to congressional floor many times. I have reached out to many congressmen. They appear to be somewhat listening, but they're not getting it. It's not the message is not getting through. And then I found out Mark Zuckerberg was silencing me. So it's been rough. I've had a bout with the NSA where Facebook reported me for bullying for exposing the NSA director for violating the Fourth Amendment. It's crazy, bro. So there's lots of great content on there. They're like hour long or so. Some of them are 20 minutes. I mean, it's in the vein of a comic book superhero. And I do that because comic books were one of my favorite things growing up. And I've actually helped put away an arsonist and a grand larceny suspect. And then there was a guy trying to stab people on the trail. And I'm not a cop. I'm just a private person. I'm just like you or anybody else. I can be sued too. But the thing of it is, I know my law and I know everything from the Constitution to the Uniform Commercial Code, the Code of Federal Regulations, which is 30,000 pages. I mean, there's so much stuff you can throw at these people. It's insane. Just go look at Title 18, Chapter 77. Now you got a whole chapter there to just because it's all human trafficking. But yeah,
Darren, what did you want him to explain?
I want him to. Why don't you break down for the people that are watching here what the Maximus Incorporated is? Like what you consider Maximus, or what is Maximus?
Maximus Incorporated. You can look up Jack Pendergrass. He's the one who originally blew the whistle on that project. It's a they've been operating within the United States for 60 years. Whenever child support services are being offered, they it's a contractor. That contractor works for Maximus. They're all criminals. So it's a private corporation, and I've also found out that they innovate in AI. They contract with the government on many different things, from child support to Medicaid to Medicare to Social Security benefits to all manner of contracts that the government may enter into. They may have a part in it. Now they're not as prevalent, but they've been around for a long, long time, and they're trying to push for a global advancement because they are an international corporation, and they are internationally trafficking children without borders. The verbiage that they use on some of their contractual stuff. It was Jack Pendergrass was in the military. He released the facts that Maximus was aiding the Taliban in trafficking children to the United States.
Wow.
So we know that they're New World Order. We know that they've hooked up high volume automated child support enforcement up to a machine, and that machine is a Maximus machine. That machine is probably run by a high tech computer of some sort that can do like petaflops or some shit. Yeah, excuse my language. Sorry, I cussed. My potty mouth. But continuing, they they do all that government contracting. So if there's a contract involved, which child supports all contracts, you can guarantee Maximus has their hands in it in some way, shape, or form, because they even do everything from the disbursement unit. They're all private persons. They're not government. They don't work for they work for government. That makes the government a principal and them an agent of the government, and the government being your employee, meaning you can fire them. So fire Maximus. Why is a private corporation for profit gaining economically exploiting children and gaining from financially from peonage? These are felonies.
Mm-hmm.
These are felonies. Point blank and period. They're submitting people to 42 USC 1994. And if they kidnap you, which means if they take you to jail for child support, that's a life sentence they could suffer for kidnapping you. It's all financial duress, coercion. It's an intimidation tactic. The Title 4D is used to enslave the father, get the father to be at work all the time. So you're always working. You're not thinking about fighting them. They're monitoring everything you do with your money and getting your social security number. And Maximus does the call center work for all of that. So they're getting everybody's social security numbers, which demanding a social security number from you is illegal. That's a felony. You do not have to give anyone your social security number. It's not a form of identification. It does not identify you. It does identify the entity that owes child support, but the entity that owes child support, that owns it and owns the debt liened against it, is the Social Security Administration.
So if Darren sends you a copy of his, what is it called again? Because I don't want to mess the words up. Darren.
I don't like it.
Initio?
Void ab initio?
Yeah, that.
Yes, it is void ab initio, void from
Thank
the very
you.
beginning.
You're damn right. All of it is, and it should be. People should just be able to walk right out, file that, and walk away.
Yep, you should be able to just walk right in and lock them right up. But I'm working on a document that everybody in CPS, child support, all that stuff, you can use it, and hopefully it will be something of an artful craft that will just snatch your children right from CPS's mouth.
Yeah, I've got. So I'll send you this. Where can I send you something? I can message you. Where I can email you.
He's on my Facebook page. You'll have to Facebook him.
Okay.
Yeah, you can Facebook me, or you can comment or send me your email, or there's tons of ways we can get at this. But Yeah, definitely. I will connect as far as helping you guys out with anything that you guys may be looking for. You know, maybe you have questions. I can answer questions. I
Oh,
can't
we
give
got
you
lots of
advice. What you
questions,
do
my
with
friend.
it's on you. But
We got lots of
Say,
questions.
Darren.
So we've got lots of questions.
okay.
We want to move forward in this shit. We've done enough talking. You know what I mean? There's no more
Yeah,
time
yeah.
for talking. It's time for us to go in and get our kids back. And the fastest way we can figure
Yep.
out to get our kids back is the better way. And I don't care. Look, I'm tired of all these people out there like, look at me. I'm the one that figured out how to do this. Fuck that. That's not what we need in this. We don't
Yeah,
need
yeah.
people
No.
like that. We need to figure out how to get these kids home and safe and back with their families. I don't care if you do it. I don't care if Tiffany does it. I don't care if Joe Blow down the street does it. I don't care what you name it. Call it
I
what you
think we
will.
all need to
But
do
we
it
need to get our kids home.
all together, all at the same time. I don't
Yep.
think they'll be ready for that.
Right. That's, you know what? I've always said if you could even get, I tried to do it a couple of years ago just to get 500 people in each state to get together at the same time to go after their kids at the same time doing avoid ab initio. There was too many people at that point. No one could have stopped that. But you know what? I
No,
couldn't even get 2 people in each state to do it. Couldn't even get 2 people in each state to commit to it. It's
they've locked a
ridiculous.
Because
lot
I'm
of them up.
scared.
Everybody wants to talk, you know?
They've locked a lot of people up too.
Well, I maybe so, maybe not. But you know, at the bottom line was that event never went off for us. So, you know, like we need to make sure that what we do, and people need to have they need to feel confident in what they're going to do when they do this. You know what I
Yeah, of
mean?
course.
This is the problem with this stuff in the CPS movement is that, you know, you get everybody's so pumped up to do this and this, and this is why I make all the apparel and everything, because you're trying to get the stigma away. Like, you know what, like, am I the only one? I'm the only one that's going to do this. I don't want to be that idiot. You know what I
They're
mean?
all
But
they're all they're all liable for a 42 USC 1983 for deprivations of rights under color of state law.
yeah, that gets the guy Vinny that's on
They
here,
could be
man.
they could be warned with a color of law form. I'm suing you. Give me my kid back.
And what do you see? How is that working as far as what people are doing when they're using the 1983?
Let's see. Sometimes it gets turned down because people don't know how to actually do one. Those who actually know how to do one get results. But it varies on different things. You're suing the state for violating your constitutional rights.
Right. But this
And
is
then if
it.
you catch them committing crimes, you can report them with a criminal complaint form to internal bureaus, FBI. You'd be sending basically if everybody sent every public official a letter that was the same from everyone that said you can't submit parents to jail and to to forced labor, and you can't take children without due process and without some sort of sworn affidavit and complaint. And then on top of that, you can't be expedited process for adopting children out of your state to another state because you feel like you want to hurry up and rush them along, and then work the system in and get extra money. And where does that money go? It goes to the state treasury. Where does that pay? It pays the state court judges' salaries and pensions, and that's a bribe. It's also a conflict of interest and financial interest in a case before a judge, which are all felonies. It's also an oath of office violation, which bars them from ever holding public office.
Yeah,
And they used to hang people for that.
we have a lot of problems with judges not giving up their bonds. Some people have gotten the clerk's bond because they don't want to give up their bond numbers.
That would be because a while ago they passed some sort of stuff that allows them to not be bonded.
What do you mean allows them not to be bonded, or so they no longer have to carry that? So that's old news, is what you're saying.
Yep. I got it somewhere on my phone.
So you're saying that? So don't waste your time trying to go after their bonds and because the biggest
Well,
thing
if you can get one, it helps. But go after their oath of office. That's what really knocks it out. But you've got Santosky. Go ahead.
You're supposed to be able to get that from your circuit court because their affirmations go to the circuit courts. Well, here in Virginia, they do.
If
They're
you
supposed to have it right on file with
go
them.
to the if you go to the state legislature or you go to the Supreme Court, they should have them on file. They should. If they don't, you might have it in the district or circuit court somewhere in an administrative office. But they have to give
I
it to
thought
you.
the rule is they're supposed to have it within reach.
They have to
judges
give it to you immediately as practicable. So as soon as they get back to wherever they're going, wherever they're let's say they're done with you and they got to move on, they got to go get that info. They can't just, you know what I mean? Because if you don't have an oath of office, then you don't have no authority. On top of not having any authority, you're giving me unlawful orders. I don't have to listen to an unlawful order. When you violate my rights with your orders, when you tell me to give up my property to you without any due process, that's a violation of my rights. I don't have to listen to that.
Well, you said earlier in when you were going off on your opening monologue there that you said that administrative judges, their verdicts, whatever their answers are void. You said correct?
Yep, it's all void ab initio because they're a violation of the separation of powers. Because administrative it means executive branch, and judge means judicial branch, and and one person can't operate two branches powers. That's unconstitutional.
Yeah,
They're all void ab
and then
initio because Marbury versus Madison states that an unconstitutional law is void from the beginning, not from when so branded in open court of law.
So let me tell you what they're trying to do here in Virginia. I got a bill from a friend of mine. They're trying to get this on the floor. They want to get this bill passed that says if they strip your parental rights here in Virginia, you are no longer allowed to appeal to the circuit court. I said, that's unconstitutional. It's the right of the people to access the court. If that bill passes, they cannot enforce it.
Nope.
Because even if one part of it is unconstitutional, the whole part is unconstitutional, right?
And if you notice stuff like that and you start seeing it, all you really got to do is take a big old red ink void stamp and just stamp it. It's void. Send it back. Don't touch my children. Don't send the cops here, or I'll call the cops on the cops.
That's right.
So what happens? How can we get parental rights overturned past 24 months?
It's void ab initio. I've told you this is it.
Okay, Santosky versus Kramer is my answer to that.
Yeah, you got that, Darren?
Yeah, Santosky versus Kramer is like one of the staples. I'm not sure which part you're hitting on.
And that said, just because you lose temporary custody to the state doesn't mean your parental rights are taken from you. They're inalienable. See Washington versus Glucksberg.
Which one says that it's inalienable?
Washington versus Glucksberg. The Supreme Court of Washington has determined that Troxel has standing under, this is Troxel versus Granville. Troxel has standing under state law to seek court order visitation with her grandchildren. But you see, what had happened was the grandparent was trying to sue the parent for seeing their grandkid, and they couldn't do it. Parental rights are inalienable. They cannot be subverted by grandparents' rights either. If grandma can't do it, then the court can't do it.
So let me ask you this. And most of the time I already know the answers, but I want you because you articulate it better than me. So we go to court, and I'm just saying this. We go to court. The judge says, I don't care about the Supreme Court rulings and I don't care about any federal rulings. What do you do?
Well, there's several different things you could do, but what I would do is tell them, all right, I'll be suing you in your personal capacity. Have a nice day. We have nothing to talk about. Leave the courtroom. You're done. And then what you do? You go home. What you do is you file a federal lawsuit. You sue them in the federal court, and you drag that state court judge into a different court, and you sue them where your constitutional rights are going to be upheld, because the states don't care about that. Because the states are getting contract funding for any and all of this from the federal government. So they're receiving the bribes. They're not going to help you. In fact, I would hazard to say not even go down there. Just federally sue them outright for the violation of your civil rights. And then just quote the 9th Amendment in Washington versus Glucksburg, Stanley versus Illinois, Troxel versus Granville. I got a whole list.
Well, you need to send me that list after the show, because
definitely, yeah. I'll hook you up with all everything I got on CPS.
Yeah, but remember, my email didn't work last time, or your email didn't work.
Well, here, I'll put our email.
I can send it straight to Messenger.
Okay, we'll send it to Messenger, and I'll get Darren and you hooked up too, because we both need this information. But now I got a question. I had a client come back and tell me. Now, I gave them some of the cases that I had. There's 154 that I have. And the judge told them if it did not happen in this state, it does not apply.
Objection.
I knew it. I thought that was bullshit.
The United States Constitution says that the judicial proceedings of one state are applicable in all other states if they are a Supreme Court ruling.
What about federal cases?
Not the Court of Appeals.
But you can still use them in your state.
But they don't have to
you can use them if they're a supporting case to the argument you're trying to make, yes. But if it's a Supreme Court ruling of your state or of the federal Supreme Court, the state courts cannot deny you using those Supreme Court cases because they feel like the state's not obligated to listen to that, because they are.
Well, I told you what happened when me and the judge got into it, when I told him to look up United States versus Sage. You remember? Mm-hmm. And he rolled his eyes and was like, Ms. Wise, the Supreme Court of the United States doesn't make the laws, the legislative body does. I said, but they set the precedent that you have to follow. Thank you for teaching me the law, Ms. Wise.
Congress may not pass laws in conflict with the Constitution. It's right in the Constitution. Have a nice day. You're going to be going to federal court, buddy, because you just denied the Constitution in an open court of law, which is treason.
I said, well, I guess I'll see y'all in federal court.
I got somebody with me to witness it.
I said, I'll see y'all in federal court, and everything changed then. His whole demeanor. Oh no, everything. Oh, now he wants to kiss my ass now.
Yeah. Now you want to be all buddy, huh?
Yeah. I still won.
Yeah, I got a guy. He all he did was threaten a 1983, and he had a child support stuff. All he did was threaten him. And they took the lien off of his car, and they told him no further enforcement action will be used against you. We're not going to take your license or anything else. We'll just leave you alone.
Yeah, well, didn't Chris put out a video that actually they can no longer take your license?
That's
what I thought. Yeah.
No state shall convert a liberty, such as traveling, into a license, such a license privilege, such as driving, and charge a fee thereof. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, 319 U.S. 105. The practice of law cannot be licensed by any state. See Schwer versus Board of Examiners. The practice of law is an occupation of common right. See Sims versus Ahems, Mr. Bar members.
Yeah, you can't be charged with practicing the law. It is our job as we the people to know what the laws are. We should know what the
It is
laws
our
are. We
civic
are.
duty, yes.
Thank you.
But Washington versus Glucksburg was 521 U.S. 702.
There you go, Darren.
It said it ruled that the Constitution and specifically the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment protects the fundamental right of parents to direct the care, upbringing, and education of their children. Which means all of these schools calling the police and putting you in jail for truancy are violating the Constitution, and they're outside the law because they are considered government workers because of the Department of Education. But Trump trying to get rid of that because they're teaching children that it's okay to feel like you're anything you want to be, and that's what you are, not what your body says you are. Because
Trump
they're
already
missing a
said.
parent, they're confused about their gender because they're missing a parent. Because what happened? The parents split up, and what happens? The family court keeps you apart, jails you.
Well,
Now
Trump
we got a
said under
parental
his
alienation
administration.
movement of children that have been alienated from their parents and have grown up and have realized that the system is the thing that did it.
Well, the
We have a whole
United States
generation of
Supreme
them.
Court. I do know the United States Supreme Court said the children that were removed from their parents have standing to sue when they come of age.
Mm-hmm.
And the legal age is 18.
That is the age that you become sui juris, which means of your own right. Before then, you don't have any rights. When you're a child, the only rights that you have are the right to not be have your physical person. You know what I'm talking about. And then the right to life and the right to have access to both of your parents. Those are the rights that children have.
Well, I was told by a constitutional professor that the parents hold the rights to the
Yes.
child.
The parents hold the rights to the rights that are inherent for the child in the child. The parents hold that and the guidance thereof until they're old enough and they're sui juris of their own right to have those rights. That's why we have an age of majority. That is the age that most of us attain that knowledge and that composure to be able to basically function in society.
That's why I told Spanny that contract that girl signed at 17 is not a contract. It's not legally binding because she was not 18.
When you're 17 and you do not have consent from both of your parents, you cannot sign into a contract. It is illegal. You have to have consent from both of your parents. This is why they have to have consent forms in everything that they do in public school.
And
Yes,
this
sir.
is why they have to have your consent to sign safety plans. You don't sign safety plans.
Bad idea. All you're doing is setting yourself up. You're saying, oh, I agree to waive my parental rights and go through your little test. And if you don't like how I perform, then you can go ahead and trample me. That's what that says. I look at him and tell him, what do you want me to do with that? Roll a cigarette?
Well, hopefully we
I'd be
can
like,
get
what do you
his
want me to
channel.
do that? Make a fly swatter? You know?
Hopefully we can get his channel hooked with our channel so that when our show's running and Gunner is running and Brenda's running,
And I'll be running.
everybody will see this and we'll get the word out more.
That would be amazing, because I've been sharing your guys' stuff too to try to get, you know what I mean? I got your a couple of your videos on my playlist so that when people are watching my videos, they're gonna watch your stuff too. And then I've got my previous guest spots with her on my channel as their own video too. And it's like, the collaboration is what's really going to push it. It'll be like, instead of one channel blowing up insanely and everybody figuring it out, it's going to be a bunch of different channels growing at the same time, spreading the information.
That's the idea, my man. And we're building the website right now.
Which work. How's that sound?
Yeah. right now we're building the website too, that inside of there everybody will have their own page that they can go to, like someone like you can sign in, but everybody will go to this one spot where everything will be CPS, fighting CPS. Everything that you need to find CPS will be right there with everybody involved in it. TV is going to be, it's going to be pretty awesome. It's just getting the people involved to want to do it and get
I
their
got the
head out of
proof
their
of
ass.
bribery. I can find all of their names for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Who these
That's
people
awesome.
are that are violating your rights.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be good
You
stuff,
know,
my man.
I'm here for you. I mean, I'm mainly child support stuff, but I have learned thoroughly the whole entire system, like the whole thing. Like if I wanted to, I could go cancel my social security number and everything.
Oh, that's good. I got some uses for you on the another conversation, not to be on TV.
Yeah, of course.
Wow, well, this is good
Pick my
stuff. Great.
brain for certain things, you know.
Mm-hmm. This is great. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm
This is
gonna.
Equity
this
too.
is
If
makes
you're
you
looking,
talk
if
to
you're
one. I'm like,
looking to
oh,
build
here goes
your
this.
credit and your money, your profile, man. Oh man, I know
Before
trademark. Right. Sorry. Go ahead.
can we go when we go off the air? Can we stay in the waiting room for a minute so we could talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
All right, don't get off because we're gonna end the show because I got to go put little man to bed because he in here ripping and running like he's excited there's snow outside.
Oh
Oh, like he
yeah.
hasn't seen it yet. Hasn't he freaking noticed it's been there all winter?
No, I don't. We don't go out in the snow.
Tiffany, you need to get
Oh
that
man, I
vitamin
get it
D.
every year. It's so cold up here. It's like -20 sometimes.
Mm.
Sometimes
No way.
I'm like,
Gonna be
nah, I'll stay inside. Thank you.
all right.
I got all my house plants, man. They're wonderful. They keep me company. I got my German Shepherd. I'm good.
All right, everybody,
Mhm.
we're gonna end the show and talk to him for a few minutes, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 7. All right, Darren.
All right. Let me kick us off of here.
In 1776, brave men put up a fight, mowing down redcoats, they wanted freedom. They had to fight, and now we take the sacrifice in vain. They loaded their muskets, fired them one by one. That's why we have the freedom to own a gun, but we are blowing it. These freedoms were created by those before us. They were to be something that stays. But now things are so corrupted.
Hey, don't forget tonight, 9:30, Gunner for CPS is going to be on. So check that out. It's Gunner, his show, his rules, his games. So don't forget to join him tonight at 9:30, guys.
Can't you see time is a waste in the Constitution we love is fading?